war. This statistic has been in the news for weeks, yet our government sends bombs to Venezuela. These actions do not represent the people of the U.S. We want an end to forever wars. We absolutely demand it. I personally was lucky enough to visit Venezuela just last month. Just 3 weeks ago I got back. And I got to witness the beautiful, revolutionary, everything that country has to offer. The people there are strong, they are determined, and they refuse to back down to the enemies like Donald Trump and his administration. They demand an end to U.S. imperialism, and they call for unity among the people of America. If you want to hear more about our delegation to Caracas, join us on the 10th at 4 p.m. Casa Michoacan to hear a full report guide. But right now, we need everyone in this fight. This government is causing terror across the globe. The people of Venezuela will undoubtedly free themselves, but it's our job to weaken the U.S. with every opportunity we have. A member of Anti-War Committee Chicago. Hello, my name is Teresa and I am a member of Anti-War Committee Chicago. We stand in complete solidarity with the Venezuelan people against U.S. imperialist aggression. Donald Trump and his cronies have attacked Venezuela for supposed drug trafficking, which nearly every international organization has stated that is untrue. We all know the real reason behind these attacks, and it's U.S. access to oil. This warmongering and resource greed is a symptom of imperialism, regardless of party affiliation. For nearly 2 decades, the U.S. has been sanctioning and starving millions of Venezuelans. Yet even today, in the face of horrific U.S. airstrikes throughout Caracas, the people of Venezuela stand tall, united against the U.S. aggression and in defense of their self-determination. Here and now, in the belly of the beast, we recognize their plight and stress that Trump's policies don't just affect Venezuelans, they affect us too. Instead of spending money on healthcare, education, and jobs, Congress allocated $901 billion to the military in their 2026 budget. In Illinois, the Illinois State Board of Investment puts millions of our tax dollars in companies benefiting these forever wars, eyes in Israel, while State Treasurer Michael Furrick buys Israel bonds. Yeah, boo Michael Furrick. I don't like it. Michael Furrick buys Israel bonds with our money. Next month, $15 million of these Israel bonds are set to expire. The people of Illinois cannot let Furrick renew them. Join Anti-War Committee and BDS Chicago in this fight by signing our petition and joining our calls to action. Michigan, North Carolina, and Minnesota have successfully divested. There's no reason why Illinois has not. Together we will advance towards victory. Hands off Venezuela. Free President Maduro. Se ve, se escucha. Estamos en la lucha. Introduce brand Commander and member of TSL in the UAW 2320.
And so say it with me. No a la guerra.
No a la guerra contra Venezuela. No a la guerra contra Venezuela.
That's right, y'all, make some noise. My name is Brandon, and I'm speaking today on behalf of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Thank you all for mobilizing here today on a moment's notice, because we are demonstrating that we stand united. We stand united against the Trump administration. We stand united against U.S. lies, and we stand united against war with Venezuela. This morning, the U.S. government bombed multiple cities in Venezuela and kidnapped the president and first lady of the government. This was all done without the approval of Congress, and more importantly, without the approval of the American people. And Trump is trying to claim that the Venezuelan government is a criminal operation, but we know that they have no ground to stand on, because we can go down the list. Was it legal to bomb fishing vessels in the Caribbean?
No!
Was it legal to seize oil tankers?
No!
Was it legal to bomb a sovereign government in the middle of the night?
No!
That's right. So while Trump is trying to paint Maduro as a criminal, the real criminals are the warmongers in the White House and in the Department of War Crimes.
That's right!
So what is this really about? They can say all the justifications that they want, and it seems like they're changing every day. But everyone here knows what it's about. It's one word. What is it? Oil! That's right. It's about oil, and it's about the U.S. playing the policeman of the world and seizing Venezuelan resources. And we've been here before. I was young during the Iraq War, but we saw hundreds of thousands of people die for a war based on U.S. lies. But you don't have to take the justifications from me. You can take it from the Trump administration directly, because today in their press conference, Trump directly said that U.S. oil companies are going to go into Venezuela and make a lot of money. And he said that the U.S. is going to run the country until they have a transition plan. Now they can try not to say these words, but we know exactly what this is. This is occupation. This is colonization. And when we look at the reality of war with Venezuela, we have to recognize that there are winners and there are losers. The winners are the multinational oil companies, the warmongers in the White House and the executives at companies like Lockheed Martin. The losers are the American and the Venezuelan people. Because if this was really about protecting Americans, the administration would be investing in jobs, in critical infrastructure, and in education. So while we are here in the United States struggling to pay our bills, struggling to pay our rent, they're going to be sitting in their executive rooms committing war crimes with our tax dollars. So today we say no. We say no to the U.S. lies. We say no to the endless wars. And we say no to occupation. I'll remind you, we've been here before, and we have resisted before. So I'll ask you one final time, are you sick of the lies?
Yeah!
Are you sick of the wars?
Yeah!
Are you ready to mobilize?
Yeah!
Because we must believe Trump when he says that this is the beginning, that there will be more strikes and more aggression against Venezuela. And we remember that 70% of Americans oppose this war. And if that's the amount that oppose the war now, that will only grow when we organize and we mobilize against this war. So today we stand up and we say, hands off Venezuela!
Hands off Venezuela!
Money for jobs and education!
Money for jobs and education!
No for war and occupation!
No for war and occupation!
Money for jobs and education!
Money for
Ending Racism and the Gay Liberation Network. Make some noise now!
Thank you. I have a message to everyone in this country, regardless of political persuasion. And that's this. If you truly support the lives of Venezuelans in Venezuela, if you truly support Venezuelan national sovereignty, you will oppose these attacks. And here's why. We've been down this road before. Every single time the United States attacks another country, regardless of what the political color of that regime in power, the people of those countries suffer immeasurably. We're talking about Afghanistan, we're talking about Iraq, we're talking about Libya, we're talking about Iran, and any number of other countries that the United States has attacked. Every single time, tens of thousands die. Their infrastructure, their schools, their hospitals, their homes are destroyed. And however impoverished they were before, they were greatly more impoverished afterwards. That is the legacy of the United States attacks on other countries. And so, I don't care if you're conservative, I don't care if you're liberal, I don't care if you're WFO. We must oppose these attacks on Venezuela, demand the immediate return of President Maduro, and hands off Venezuela and all the countries of the region. And for those who think that Donald John Trump gives a shit about the Venezuelan people, just look at the way he's treated black and brown people, Venezuelan migrants included, in this country. He accuses them of being racists and murderers, when the only one who can really take a claim to that title is Donald John Trump himself. And anyone who thinks that the Venezuelan people will get a smidgen of the oil that he claims to be giving to them, this guy is a serial grifter. Everything he's done in this country to rip people off, he's going to do to the Venezuelan people as well. We must demand Venezuela for the Venezuelans. Only the Venezuelan people themselves, without any outside military interference or CIA, can decide their own fate. Again, if you truly care about the Venezuelan people, you will oppose this invasion. You will demand the return of the girl. And let's get rid of the dictator in this country while we're at it.
All right, next up, I'd like to introduce Maro from Alma Dizerte, an organizer who's been dedicated to the fight. Make some noise, y'all! Money for a job and education.
Money for jobs and education.
Not for war and occupation.
El pueblo unido
jamás será vencido.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
My name is Mauro Navarro. I just came back from El Salvador. Nobody say anything about Bukele. And Trump is a double moral. Trump has been killed. And Bukele has been killed. 400 people in my country. 400 people, innocent people in the jail. Trump is a criminal. Trump is a criminal guy. He needs to go to the jail right now. Para mi gente en Venezuela, para mi gente latinoamericana, estamos aquí. Este es el verdadero pueblo norteamericano. americano. Estamos con ustedes, Venezuela. Estamos con Latinoamérica. Ahora es tiempo de que nos levantemos en contra de la tiranía que viene en contra de todos nosotros, los que verdaderamente queremos un mundo mejor para cada uno de nosotros, para nuestros pueblos. La liberación de nuestros pueblos es ahora, y si no, los fascistas vienen en contra de nosotros. Pueblo norteamericano, por favor, son 70% que está en contra de la guerra. ¡No a la guerra!
¡No a la guerra!
¡No a la guerra!
¡No a la guerra!
¡Viva la paz!
¡Viva la paz!
¡Viva Latinoamérica!
¡Viva Latinoamérica!
Thank you. Make some noise, y'all!
Up next, I'd like to welcome Ms. Nasreen, an amazing organizer from the U.S. Palestinian Community Network. Make some noise! Shabbat vive! Saluche vive!
¡Nunca sigue!
My name is Nasreen, and I'm a longtime organizer with the U.S. Palestinian Community Network. USPCN stands here alongside all of you and condemns the actions of the Trump administration. This isn't an escalation. It's also a declaration of war. The United States has opened a new chapter in history. A new chapter in which the United States no longer has to hide what it's doing abroad. Trump blatantly said, we're going to take control of oil. And of course, just 2 days ago, Mike Pompeo, Trump's former advisor, had openly said, God bless the Iranian protesters and every Mossad agent walking next to them, admitting to the world that Israel and the U.S. are currently undergoing a regime change operation in Iran as well. Stay safe! The United States is making last attempts to save its image all over the world. It wants to control the oil of Venezuela, then go after Iran's resources next, and wants to dominate by force any country or any resistant movement that dares to resist it, dares to abandon the U.S. dollars, or dares to attempt to break the sanctions. Hugo Chavez said these same words back in 2005. When imperialism feels weak, it resorts to brute force. The attacks on Venezuela are a sign of weakness, ideological weakness. He said this during the sanctions in 2005 in responding to the Bush administration. Shit hasn't changed. Of course, a country that funds and commits to genocide and gets away with it can do anything. The world enabled the U.S. to continue in committing war crimes when the world didn't stop the genocide. The Colombian president, Gustavo Petro, currently under sanctions from the U.S. because he dared to support Palestine, said that Gaza is the testing ground for what's to come. Make no mistake, my siblings, the struggle for a free Palestine is connected to the struggle of a free Latin America and the global South. The world, and they want a world where everyone listens to Western hegemony, and the billionaires use this sacred earth as their playground. We are seeing the United States act rogue towards all their siblings all over the world and have a moral duty to stop it. We have to continue to organize, strike blows against the beast from within. We have a responsibility more than any other people in the world to end the suffering of the people around the world. After all, we are the working class people of this country. We have more in common with the Venezuelans, the Cubans, the Iranian people, the Sudanese people, the Nigerian people, and the Koreans. All power to the people, free Palestine, and all solidarity with the Bolivarian Republic. Thank you. Venezuela to control, operate, and profit off the rich oil reserves of the country. Trump shamelessly throws allegations of narco-terrorism as a pretext to destabilize Venezuela, trained to facilitate the theft of its oil and its natural wealth. We condemn this scheme, and we stand with the people of Venezuela. We know who the true narco-terrorists are. It's the U.S. and Israel. The power that was distributed at their so-called aid sites. Shame! As Adam, this playbook of escalation is especially familiar as the U.S. and its proxies have repeatedly used it against our people, whether it be the lies about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, lies about an imminent threat of nuclear weapons in Iran, or casting the label of terrorist on the entirety of Palestinian society, from hospitals to preschools. We know that the U.S. will formulate any claim, no matter how senseless, how baseless, or how even shameless, to create a rhetoric for its brutal imperialist expansion. Shame! We see clearly that the hammer of imperialism strikes around the world on any and every nation that dares to determine its future outside of the Western capitalistic system. Any and every nation that dares to assert control over its own natural resources. Any and every nation that refuses to submit to American domination and fall in line with its unipolar world system. Venezuela, like Iraq, like Palestine, has a strong, proud history of anti-capitalistic and anti-imperialist resistance. Venezuela has long been a thorn in the side of the U.S. government and American corporations that have for decades tried to expand their control of Latin America's land, resources, and labor. Venezuela presents a different path forward for the region, one of liberation and sovereignty for the Latin American masses, a vision true to the revolutionary Simon Bolivar, who fought for the liberation, unity, dignity, and self-determination of all of South America. Make no mistake, that is the reason why the U.S. insists on a war in Venezuela. A war in Venezuela is a win for nobody except the American politicians, the American oil production, and the American weapons manufacturers. Meanwhile, working Americans will continue to be abandoned by their government, lacking basic food security, healthcare, and shelter, while their kids are forced to night in yet another forever war they have nothing to do with. Here in the Imperial Corps, we have a heightened responsibility to resist and end America's reign to terror. At the heart of attacks on our homeland around the world, from Venezuela to Palestine and beyond, is imperialism, is American greed. Our struggles are not interconnected. They are one struggle against the same enemy, against imperialism, capitalism, and Zionism.
Never in my career as a lawyer.
Thank you, comrade. And thank you, all of you, for coming tonight. What a great display of solidarity. What we see, the wannabe dictator, Nazi pedophile, talking about caring about immigrants. We know better. We know how we've been treating immigrants here in our country. How they disappear people, how they put people in detention camps, in concentration camps, how they try to tell us that they care about Venezuelans, that they care about Latin Americans. Shame on you! of international law and U.S. law, invading a sovereign country, kidnap their president, kidnap their first lady, and call this just. This is a criminal act and must be denounced, and must be fought, and must be battled in every country of the world. We know the interconnections of the struggle. The same drones flying in Gaza are the same drones flying in our streets, or those same drones that are going to be flying soon in Venezuela and all Latin America if we don't stop it now. And that's what I'm call on every American, the true American spirit of sovereignty, of self-determination, and true justice to defeat these warmongers that can continue to install dictators in San Salvador, in Argentina, in Ecuador, and we tell them no more. And we must fight now. So I'm going to tell you, I feel in spite of this moment, I feel optimism. And I tell you I feel optimism because I see it in the streets of Chicago, where we can fight this Nazi wannabe dictator with the people, with dignity, with courage. And this is the courage of the moment. So I tell you that these ludicrous justifications of war, the same that we saw in the Iraqi war, the Afghanistan war, destabilize entire continents to bring misery and death to entire regions. We say no more. We say no more. And we say the sleeping giant, the American people have awakened, and we are going to take back our government from this country. So I tell you today, we call today these ludicrous excuses telling about drugs when these same criminal warmonger fascists just a few weeks ago a dictator from Honduras for actually trafficking girls in our country. This is not about drugs. This is about oil, imperialism, and power. And today we say all power to the people. And today we say we gotta defeat fascism before fascism stops us. And today we say the demands are clear. Release Maduro. Release the front lady. Release them all. Release all people that have been detained. All immigrants in this country. Everybody who has been detained. And I tell you finally that this is the moment of international solidarity. This is the moment of freedom and justice. This is the moment when we remember our ancestors, our power ancestors of Fred Hampton here in Chicago that said, international solidarity and socialism to defeat the Nazis and fascists that want to stop what they could not be able to do it. I feel the power of the people. I will say it loud and clear. Sí se puede! Sí se puede! ¡Viva Venezuela! ¡Viva América libre! ¡Ah, que viva! ¡Que viva la patria grande! ¡Que viva América Latina! Thank you so much!
Hey, I know you're watching the live stream right now, but I want to take a moment to tell you to check out this new book right here over my shoulder. Believe me, it'll be worth it.
Room for the banners. They are moving towards your direction. Please make some space for the banners to get through. Thank you very much. For anybody who is cold in a second, we have a few hand warmers. We want to make sure everyone is warm to the best of our ability. If you need a hand warmer, we have a few up here. Please stay put while the banners get in place, and we're going to get ready to march in a second. When Venezuela is under attack, what do?
Events Connect Us empowers families to thrive through holistic well-being, early child development, and accessible health care.
We are committed to fostering connections, knowledge sharing, and support networks that enhance the physical, mental, and emotional health of children, parents, and caregivers.
By building bridges between healthcare providers, social services organizations, educators, and families.
We aspire to create a world where every child experiences a healthy and nurturing start.
Setting the foundation for a brighter future.
If you do nothing else.
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 Stay live.